Well, hey, welcome to the hangar deck. You're just in time. I'm getting ready to pull the parafilm off the canopy of my Mark 6 Mosquito, almost said Spitfire. Another great British aircraft. So, hey, come on in. Have a seat. Let me get the camera set, and you can watch me. After all, what's more exciting than pulling off parafilm? So when I started this, right before I started this model, I actually had a business trip to Great Britain. And I don't know why, but I thought a lot about that trip as I was doing this canopy. And I think that maybe one of the reasons why I thought a lot about it was from the movie The Longest Day. And if you're familiar with that movie, there's a scene where a British paratrooper lands right in the middle of a greenhouse. And this woman from Normandy comes out of her house and she's in her bathrobe because it's her nightgown or what have you, because it's kind of in the middle of the night, early in the morning. And the guy looks at her and says something like, "Oh, sorry, Mom." And she just can't, she can't believe it. This guy's in her greenhouse, and where did he come from? And she's a pretty cagey lady, because later in the movie she's at the church and she's telling the preacher about some man that came out of the sky. And of course, all the people knew exactly what that meant. Well, they were pretty sure, I think. We weren't in their heads, but they knew it was either paratroopers or some guy had gotten shot down and bailed out of his plane. But by that time, I think they were beginning to hear the battle rage around them. I don't know about you, but if you go out you see them on Facebook every once in a while, you'll see those pictures, D-Day then and now. And they'll show the areas around Normandy that had pictures taken, famous battle scenes. And they'll show you what it looked like during the battle and now what it looks like. Some of them bear, a striking resemblance. It's kind of like seeing pictures of your dad or your granddad. For me, it was my dad was World War II aged. And he had 5 brothers. None of them were involved in the Normandy landings, but all of them, including my dad, served. But you look at those pictures of those guys, and sometimes they bear a resemblance to the person they became later in life. They age. Sometimes they kind of don't. Sometimes you can tell who it is, and sometimes you can't. It's the same with those buildings. Some of those buildings look the same, and some of them don't. Some of them are gone. Just like our World War II vets, they'll all be gone pretty soon. Too soon. My dad and all of his brothers are gone now. My dad, as I mentioned, had 5 brothers. All of them served in the military. My dad's youngest brother got in right before the war ended. My dad's dad, my granddad, worked on the Santa Fe Railroad. And he was in his early 50s or late 40s. Probably early 50s. Probably 51 or 52. And he decided after his youngest son joined the military, I think he joined the Navy. In fact, I know he did. He decided that he was going to go join up. I could just imagine the conversation between my grandmother and my grandfather. It was probably something like, "You old fool, I'm not going to take you, you're too old." She probably didn't call him a fool, though. I think she loved him quite a bit. But he went down to the recruiting office, Army recruiting office. He said, "I'm here to join the Army." And they lived in a little town in Oklahoma, and I imagine the recruiter probably knew who he was. And he said, "Well, Mr. Andrews," he said, "I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're too old, sir. We can't take you. There's an age limit." And I could just hear my granddad saying this, even though he passed away when I was a little, young. He said, "Listen here. I got 6 boys in the service, and by golly, I can whip them all." And as if that would turn the tide, And the poor sergeant, he said, "Sir, I don't doubt that a bit, but I still can't take you." That would have been something to see, but I think I saw that over in Ukraine, they had a man that was in his 70s that was serving in a unit. Now, I don't know what he did, but he was doing his part. That's what we've got so far. It's looking pretty good. So on this Parafilm, clings really good. I use an X-Acto knife to very carefully get it started up, so as I don't scratch the glass, or the plastic, really. This stuff works really great. I like it about as well as I like pre-cuts. Pre-cuts come off pretty easy, a little easier. So I got a little edge up here. Well, just about got one side done. I find this is more, the the going down part about putting the parafilm on goes a little faster than the removal. Parafilm's pretty cheap when you compare it to pre-cuts, but depending on the model, I do use pre-cuts. I'll be doing a P38 here pretty soon, and I'll do pre-cuts on it. I'm also going to do the Quinta cockpit on that too. This side's coming off a little easier, although you can't really see, can you, because my big fat hand's in the way. Sorry. I know that's not good camera etiquette. Hey, if you guys get a chance, if you guys are subscribed to Max's Models, if you don't, I would suggest you do. He put together a fantastic video of what if airplanes were girls. And he did all these fighters from World War II and what their girl counterparts might look like. And I know it was probably a little sexist, but I thought it was really funny. Okay, now let's see if we can get this one going. So here we go. What I did is I cut right along the line of the parafilm to help get it broke loose on one edge. Usually, once you get it under one edge, get it broke loose under one edge, it'll come off. Let's see if I can turn this a little bit here so you can see. So we're going to cut right along that canopy edge. Just like that. Alrighty, just a couple more pieces to go here. Start to see our pilot and our radio guy. I think, I don't know if he was the bombardier on a Mosquito. Alright, just about got everything off. I'm going to give you a quick look-see, a close-up. I don't drop the phone right on top of the airplane. That would be a great thing. So what I typically do after I remove the parafilm, a lot of times, it depends on what it looks like, I'll take a cotton swab and a little bit of Future or Pledge, depending on where you're from. Just dab that on that windscreen, and that kind of clears that all up. So that's about all I have. If you've stayed this long, I appreciate you staying almost 17 minutes just to watch this tedium of removing parafilm. But if you've never tried parafilm, I do have a video in my videos that shows you how to apply parafilm. And once you get it on and get it set down, you can spray paint over it. This parafilm's been on this canopy for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and it really wasn't a big deal to take off. So if you want to try it, give it a whirl. Anyway, as you're leaving the hangar deck, please be careful out there. Watch out for the prop arcs. Watch out for the intakes and the jet blast. And always keep your head on a swivel. Be careful, have fun, make models, not war. Anyway, take care, my friends. Until we see you again.